Good morning. It's so good to see you all filtering in. We actually have a poll to get us started. So as you're joining, go ahead and participate in our poll, answering what you're hoping to get out of the webinar today. And then also, just to make sure things are working, if you wouldn't mind popping into the chat, we would absolutely love to just know who's here. So if you can just say your name and where you're from, it will be wonderful. I'll get us started. I'm Crystal from Colorado Springs. Great, you guys beat me. You're fast typers. So excellent. Well, as we are beginning, I wanted to introduce my teammate, Kenna, who's joining on our first webinar. We put backgrounds up that reflect where we're from and this time of year. So as I mentioned in the chat, I'm from Colorado Springs. The leaves have all fallen off the trees by now, but a few weeks ago it looked like this. So absolutely beautiful here in the fall season. And my responsibilities here at Fundraising are on the sales and marketing team. I have the privilege of leading some incredible ladies on that team. And so one of those is Kenna. And Kenna, I'd love for you to just introduce yourself and share what you do here with Fundraising.
Wonderful. Thank you, Crystal. I'm an account manager for Fundeasy, and as you can see in my background, I am based in Southeast Alabama, where the cotton is blooming right now. We have a ton of cotton fields. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is our snow. We don't get actual snow, so this is our pretend snow. My role at Fundeasy is to make sure you're getting the most out of your Fundeasy pages. I was in your role at a pregnancy center and as a Fundeasy customer, and I got my pages up and running, but I don't think I got I got the most out of all the features that we offer because I was so busy coordinating all the other event details, right? So I don't want that to happen to you. My role is to make sure that you are using and maximizing all of the tools and the features. So I would love to meet with you. We'll go over your page together on Zoom, and we'll talk about all those tools and features to make sure you know about them and you're using them. It really doesn't take that much more time to make sure you're maximizing all of the tools. So I'm going to drop my meeting link in the chat. You can set up a time that's good for you. I'll also drop my email address. So I hope that you'll take me up on that offer and meet with me. I would love to talk with you. Thanks, Crystal.
Awesome. Thanks, Kenna. And just to reiterate, that's for our current customers. At the end of this webinar presentation, we'll have info for those of you that are not customers to book a sales call with us. We're not high pressure salespeople, but it allows us to kind of talk through your needs and how we can help you with our software. So without further ado, I will share my screen and get started here. And Kenna's going to really be managing our Q&A. You'll also see Madison is kind of silently joining us. She's going to be sharing some links as we go. So we've really got a team approach here to our webinar today. So I'll go ahead and end our poll. It looks like we are almost 50-50 for people looking for tips to increase participation and tips for starting our first. So super exciting. And then winning lottery numbers. I was hoping someone would be snarky. Nobody was snarky. So, it looks like I can share results here. So it looks like we're 53%, 47%, and 0. Nobody wants winning lottery numbers. We are giving away $500 over the next couple of weeks. And so we are going to be sharing about that later on in the webinar too. So that's kind of fun. But what you are all here for today, I almost threw that same shirt on and then I remembered I'm wearing it in that picture, so I didn't. We are here to talk about online baby bottle campaigns and using peer-to-peer to grow them. So baby bottle campaigns really are a ministry staple for a lot of pro-life ministries. And so we are kind of approaching this webinar with the understanding that you all know what baby bottle fundraisers are. So of the traditional sense. Of course, pop any questions that you have into Q&A if this is not as familiar to you. I am more than happy to dive into a little bit more of the nitty-gritty details. And so, like I said, Ken is managing that Q&A. And then, yes, but anyhow, baby bottles are really a ministry staple, and for good reason. My favorite reason is that they engage multiple generations. It's a really good way for kids to have a tangible thing to get involved with the ministry. Taking that bottle home, talking to your kids about the value of life, giving them the opportunity to put things in donation, to help moms and babies. It's a wonderful fundraiser for those young kids, and then of course for the rest of us as well. It's a really good way to connect with churches, since churches are really your partners in driving these campaigns, to connect with donors and raise funds. And then of course, it's a great financial fundraiser. Every bottle that's returned typically averages about $25 to $50 per bottle. And so hundreds of return bottles quickly turn into thousands of dollars received. I'm curious, and I will start this next poll. How long your organization has hosted a traditional baby bottle campaign? So, some of you may never have. Nobody has said that yet. 0 to 5 years, 5 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 plus. These have really been around for over 20 years. It looks like as you all are answering, most are kind of in the 10 to 20 year category. So that's great. This is a long time staple for your nonprofit. I'm sure you have some established relationships with those churches helping to fuel this. That is wonderful. So great. I'm going to go ahead and end this poll and move on to the next slide. It looks like 47% are 10 to 20 years. So that's really great. Okay. So why use peer-to-peer for online baby bottles? Over the past few years, they have exploded in popularity and acceptance. We saw a few here and there before the pandemic, but when 2020 hit and the world changed, I should say the world broke, everything changed, right? Churches were closed. We couldn't hand out those bottles. Everyone was concerned about, all the things that we touched. We were hyper sensitive to what we were touching. And so it was in 2020 when they really gained popularity and acceptance. One of those things that we just did as a ministry to pivot, right? But it's one of those things that also were a blessing out of COVID, because so many have found them to be just absolutely wonderful and raising more funds for the nonprofit. So if you are still running your campaign entirely offline, you're missing out on a really good opportunity to engage donors and to raise more funds. So we all know change is hard. Embracing change and trying new things can definitely be scary. So of course, in this webinar, we're talking you through how to use peer-to-peer to grow your baby bottle campaign online, sharing some suggestions from some of the most successful campaigns that we've had the privilege of talking to once our campaign was over. And we've really seen hundreds of campaigns raise thousands of dollars. So I'm excited to share this information with you. So why online bottles? Baby bottle boomerangs have been key fundraisers, like we talked about, for the past 20 years. With that history, they are widely recognized as a pro-life symbol. I have been a visiting church attender and have seen people or have been there when bottles were handed out. And just coming from the pro-life world myself, it was kind of cool to see that in a different city, a different state. Super exciting to see that church embracing life. But of course, a study from the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco, no surprise, revealed that the amount of cash transactions have steadily decreased while debit and credit card transactions have increased. And just to share those stats with you, over 80% of consumers prefer spending with a card over cash. 49% of all church giving transactions are made with a card. 54% of donors prefer to give to charities via a card. And of course, we all remember the great coin shortage that also was in 2020. which caused many businesses to stop giving change altogether. So considering all those factors, it's safe to assume that the majority of church members are no longer walking around with pockets full of change. So asking for spare change is not as relevant today as it was when baby bottle campaigns gained their popularity. And I want to take this opportunity to also remind you that we do have a Q&A section. So if you have a question, it's definitely helpful to pop it in there, and we'll do our best to answer those. We will try to keep an eye on chat. My amazing team, not myself, but we'll try to keep an eye on chat. But that Q&A is the best place to drop in questions. So great. So since church members are no longer walking around with pockets full of change, I think it's really important to meet them where they're at and to make giving via card just as easy as it used to be to empty that bowl of change on top of the dryer. So I'll mention this later, but I'm just gonna tell you now, we are not saying get rid of those physical baby bottles. A virtual baby bottle campaign or online baby bottle campaign does not replace the physical bottles. It enhances them. So we'll get into that more later. All right, time for our next poll. In the past 5 years, has your baby bottle income remained about the same, increased, decreased? I will take a sip of my lovely peppermint tea as you answer. Amazing. All right. What an encouragement that the baby bottles have increased in the past 5 years. I love it. When you find a good, solid fundraiser that works, you run with that, right? And you just figure out ways to make it better. And so it's so exciting to see. It looks like 55% here. I will share this poll as well. 55% have increased in income over the past 5 years, while 24% remained about the same and 21% decreased. So I'm really hopeful that for that 21% where they have seen a decrease, that this really helps to bump you back up, because the ministry you're doing is so important and you need funds to do it. We would love it if we could do everything for free, but that is just not possible. So this is a great way to fund your God-given mission. So excellent. Okay, how online baby bottle campaigns work. Let's get into the nitty-gritty here. If you have an established baby bottle campaign, don't get rid of it. An online baby bottle campaign should complement your fundraiser, not replace it. And with a traditional baby bottle campaign, bottles are distributed in local churches, and the congregation is asked to take one home, fill it with coins, and return it to the church. Churches often want to know how much their congregation raised for the ministry so that they can announce it and thank the participants. And in many cities, there's even a friendly competition. If you do make the amount raised through that campaign public knowledge, then you may have those churches that kind of compete with one another to raise more for the ministry. We certainly saw that in our ministry here in Colorado Springs for our walk. Not as much with the baby bottle campaign, but definitely with the walk. It's kind of fun to encourage that competition. So really, to achieve all these same goals and easily track the church fundraising, that was so difficult. I'll tell you what, before peer-to-peer, online baby bottle campaigns really leverage peer-to-peer fundraising. So many of the ministries are familiar with the concept of peer-to-peer from another very popular staple event that works, and that is the walk, right? Walk for Life, typically as that's called, or some variation of that term. And in a walk, each participant has a personal fundraiser page where they accept donations on behalf of the organization. With an online baby bottle campaign, it's actually the church that has the fundraiser page. So same concept, same platform, different terms, different focus, right? So the congregation is then encouraged to give donations on that page if they prefer online giving, or if they're like me and leave the bottle on their dresser for far too long. So peer-to-peer by Fundraising provides a great platform to receive those offline donations while also receive online donations while also tracking offline donations, because of course you're doing both, right? And so it's a great place to have both your offline totals as well as your online totals represented, so that thermometer on the church's fundraiser page is showing everything.
Hey, Crystal, we have a quick question.
Sure.
Talking about churches doing the online campaign, what is a good incentive for a friendly church competition that donors may feel comfortable contributing toward? That's one of our questions from a attendee.
That is great. Some sort of incentive. I would love to actually hear from you guys in the chat. Personally, I haven't given incentives necessarily. It's just more of a, is it not Christian to say bragging, right? Like, I'm curious if anybody has done any sort of actual incentive within the church. So I'm kind of looking at the chat now. Oh, a baby bottle trophy. Brilliant, Leanne. Of course. That's so smart. Most definitely. That could even be a traveling trophy, right? Like the highest raising baby bottle, organization. Trophies have become so much cheaper to make in the past like 10, 15 years. I love it. Rebecca says we have a plaque that we present to the top baby bottle church and they can keep it for the year. So traveling trophy, traveling plaque. Awesome. Have the top church and pastor's name engraved. I love that. And it's for 5 years. Very cool. That's awesome. I love it. Great idea. Good examples. Thanks for sharing, guys. And praise God that I don't have the answers, all of the answers, but you guys do. I love it. So with peer-to-peer, as we mentioned, churches can see a real-time total raised both online and offline. If you see that little graphic of the baby bottle fundraiser, the baby bottle, that's actually from our fundraiser pages, as you'll see in a minute. And that is one of our thermometer options. When you're setting up peer-to-peer, it can fill with coins. All right, what online baby bottle campaigns look like? Got the next poll here for you. Our fourth and final poll. What do you think has proven to be the most successful with these peer-to-peer fundraisers for baby bottles? Is it inviting donors to set up personal fundraiser pages, setting up fundraising pages for churches to promote, or both? Give you all a minute to answer. Oh, I'm looking back at the chat, and I love Kenna's idea here as well. You could announce your top church at your gala or banquet. Brilliant. In front of all of your donors. That's wonderful. So, great. All right, I'm going to end that poll. So it looks like 53% said that setting up fundraising pages for churches to promote, and that is what we have found to be the right answer, if you will. Really streamlining things and making it so easy. You don't, I feel like, what is it called? Option paralysis or something, when you give too many options. Decision paralysis, maybe, when you give too many options for something, people just don't know what to do and kind of freeze and don't do anything, right? And so we always want to direct people to the choice that we want them to make, instead of trying to appease everyone. Really direct them to the choice that you want for them to make. And that is setting up a fundraiser page for churches to promote. Inviting, having the option of, we can sign up as a church or an individual. I'll just be honest, in the hundreds and hundreds of campaigns that we've seen, we have not seen that to be successful. Maybe here or there, but as an overwhelming generalization, it has not. So what we have seen is we've seen many variations, as I mentioned. The version that works the best is the one that most closely resembles the traditional baby bottle boomerang. So most churches are eager to learn the grand totals donated by their congregation. However, it's common to see pregnancy centers struggle to calculate the total since bottles trickle back slowly. With peer-to-peer, each church gets its own fundraising page with an animated fund meter that tracks progress in real time toward their goal, and they can see the impact immediately instead of waiting for your team to tally up what's given in bottles. So that's pretty neat. As your team tallies and you record offline donations, or if that's something you ask the church to do, to record their own offline donations, either way, they can immediately see how much has been raised because the thermometer on the fundraiser pages reflects both online and offline fundraising. Also, when donors are giving, if they are giving from that peer-to-peer page, they can see how much the church has already raised. And then as they're giving, they can see how their goal or how their gift is impacting the goal. And I'll actually show that to you in just a minute. Many churches will likely still have members that take physical bottles. This is awesome. And as I mentioned, your team can record these as offline donations and peer-to-peer. Not only can you do that, but if they give contact info, you can also use peer-to-peer to generate a receipt for them for that offline gift. So I don't know if you all know this, but on our website, we have a little section on our peer-to-peer page. So fundeasy.com/P2P. And if you scroll down, you can see live fundraiser pages. And so I did that in setting up the content for this webinar and pulled some information on some fundraisers that are actually going on right now. So these are live campaigns, and you can view plenty more because there's actually a lot of them running right now at fundeasy.com/P2P. So I wanted to take you through what this one looks like. This is Voice of Hope. We have a couple here I thought I'd take a look at in different ways. So this is their campaign webpage. So for every fundraiser page, or for every peer-to-peer online baby bottle campaign, words are hard sometimes, there is a campaign webpage. And that campaign webpage shows your total fundraising goal, what you're hoping to raise, and how much you've raised toward that goal. It also links to the different churches that are fundraising and allows you to sponsor one of those participating churches. We have some organizations, and I may be getting ahead of myself, that have bought a domain that's like voiceofhopebottles.com that just redirects to this page. So it's something you can generally promote and say, hey, is your church participating? Support your church. And so I did record a little video here, just kind of scrolling through the page to show you all the content that is on that campaign page. And so you'll see there's a description over here showing what that baby bottle fundraiser is all about. There's the leaderboard that shows that competition in real time. It shows the different churches, how much they've raised, what their goal is. And then, of course, as with any peer-to-peer campaign, we talk about you, because not everybody that gets to this page knows you as well as you know you. So you're going to list organization information here as well. Kenna, I saw your video pop back on. Is there a question?
Yes, thanks. Teresa Sadler asked, do you have a recommended goal for the church, or do you allow them to set their own goal?
Yeah, really good question, Teresa. So since you have, as a general rule, right, half of you at least, 10 to 20 years of history with this campaign, you know what they've raised in the past. So I would absolutely not only set the goal for the church, but also set up the church's page. The least amount that they have to do to be successful, the better, right? So you can actually set up each fundraiser page for your online baby bottles for your churches. And then I would customize the goal for each church based on what they raised in the past, plus some. So, if that church brought in $8,000 last year, then 10 or 12 might be a good goal for them this year. And goals are something that are not etched in stone. So they are something that you can edit along the way. So if your church, the church meets their goal and it's the early part of that baby bottle campaign, bump up the goal for the church. Of course, you want to get the church's buy-in with everything. But I would say don't let them necessarily set their own. the more legwork you can do for them, the easier it'll be and the more successful it'll be. And then most folks are going to be visiting this actually on their phone, right? So those that are in church and click a link from the virtual bulletin or scan a QR code, and we'll talk about all of those promotion options here in a minute. But they're going to be looking at it from their phone. So this is an example of what it's going to look like. This links right to that church's page. So whereas what we just previously looked at linked to the campaign webpage, this links right to the church's fundraiser page. As you can see here, this is a parish. Their goal is $10,000, and so far they've raised $8,500 of it. And again, this is one of those fundraisers that I saw just on our peer-to-peer. So this is actually active live. I pulled the screenshot this morning. So again, just a little video to scroll through and show you what that looks like. The give button is of course really prominent there, offering for people to give. But as you can see, when I scroll down there, there is more information as well. So the campaign information, the organization information, it's all listed there on the page. You can also, so I don't know if you all are as familiar, when you pull this up on your phone, it kind of collapses all of those categories and you can tap to expand them, which is nice. It does show that leaderboard. It shows whatever you put in a get involved section. And then when they tap give, it takes them to the giving page and you'll see that baby bottle fills up with coins. So I just selected 250 right there. And it showed, all right, 250 is getting us that much closer to the goal. The bottle's filling up even more with coins. So that's what it looks like on the front end for those that are participating or giving. But on the back end, peer-to-peer has just a whole bunch of tools. You can see each tool listed over there on the left-hand side. This is a screenshot of the campaign dashboard. So this shows the progress. In this campaign, they're hoping to raise 127,000, or I'm sorry, their goal is 160, I think. And they've raised 127,000. And so it shows they've got 64 churches or parishes participating, 405 people have donated. And this one's running through the end of the year. So 46 days left till the end of the year. It's crazy to think. But on the left-hand side, you'll see there's the dashboard. You can email invitations, so invite people to sign up. Again, the less work that you can ask people to do for you, the better. But that is one of the tools that comes standard in peer-to-peer, so of course it's there. The column browser, I'll show you that in a sec. But then also there's the ability to send emails, emailing those churches that are participating, and the contacts that you have for them, or emailing all of your donors with emails that are branded for your campaign. We send automatic receipts for your online gifts, but of course there is an invoice and receipt option here as well. And that's for those offline gifts. And then the column browser, if you are not familiar with peer-to-peer, the column browser is where you can view all the transactions. So the top part of the column browser shows all your churches fundraising on the left here, all the donors on the right, and then more of a transaction-like view down below. Don't worry, this is my demo and lots of dummy information. So just in case you got nervous. This isn't real info, but this is what it really looks like. So if we were to click on Ada Bible Church, for instance, you would then only see the Ada Bible donors. You can also hit register person to record your offline donations, whether that is a lump sum or if you did get contact info for those donors and want to record them in here. And just like every product, we do integrate with the two most popular CRMs for pregnancy centers, in addition to some other integrations, and that is eKairos and Wakewell. So while you're tracking everything for your online baby bottle campaigns here in Fundeezy and our peer-to-peer platform, you just have to pull it over to your CRM, over to eKairos or to Wakewell. Kenna, was there another question?
Yeah, two great questions. One attendee said, we don't typically do multiple churches at one time because it requires too many baby bottles. I remember doing that, having to repurpose those baby bottles for the next campaign. Her question is, does the
Mhm.
campaign work? Does the campaign page work if the churches do their fundraisers at different times? And then another question from Faith Green that's kind of related. How long do you recommend a campaign to last?
Yes, good questions. So absolutely, and you'll see it in my screen right there in the upper right corner. There's a question mark. You can always ask support these questions, but to give you the answers, absolutely, you can run campaigns at different times. You can set an end date for each one of your fundraiser pages. So if a church is running it just Mother's Day to Father's Day, then whenever Father's Day is in June, that can be the end date of that campaign. However, you could also choose when setting up your campaign, because peer-to-peer is so versatile, you could choose for your fundraiser pages to stay open 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months after the campaign ends. So if, even though the baby bottle campaign was being run through through Father's Day, if somebody in mid-August finds it in, a pile of stuff they cleaned out of their car, they could still scan that QR code and give. So most commonly, folks are running their online baby bottle campaign through the end of the year. So you saw that in a couple of the examples here. We've got 40 something days left till the end of the year. And they just kind of have it open, even though the church is promoting it at a certain time, the campaign is open throughout the entire year and able to accept donations. To answer the question about timeframes. So most often baby bottle campaigns are run in the month of January because that is Sanctity of Human Life Month. So a lot of churches will embrace this campaign as they are talking about the sanctity of human life. Another really common time is Mother's Day to Father's Day, just kind of having that really defined beginning and end. And then others just kind of ask churches what works for you. So when is the best time? Here's a couple options, but we don't really care what you choose. If you want to do September because that's kind of a slower month in the church, great, let's do September. So, and if you all have any other feedback, please share in the chat. I would love to hear if you found other times that are working really well for you or other approaches. Great. And then during a webinar that we hosted early in 2021, as baby bottle campaigns were really, we were really getting a whole bunch of them in at that time because of all of the loveliness of 2020. We hosted a campaign or a webinar, which we'll link to in our resources tomorrow. We hosted a webinar with several different organizations that had done their baby bottle campaign in 2020 and found different things to be successful. And a lot of those things shared in that webinar are still true, have found to really stand the test of time. So one of those things is, like I have mentioned a few times, asking the church to do as little as possible to get their campaign going. So instead of emailing the link to the church or the parish admin person and saying, here's the link, can you register and set up this page, actually dedicating some time for you and your team to do that, so you can instead say, here's the link to promote in your bulletins, let me know if anything needs changed on here. So it's a whole lot less work for them, and it allows you to really communicate what you're hoping that each church communicates. So Amy and Lynn from Women's Choice Network, who actually were one of the examples I showed earlier, they shared how they did that. And they set up a fundraiser page for any church that has participated in the baby bottle campaign in any of the last 5 years. So they said, yeah, it was an investment of time for several members of our team, but the return on investment was great. So they really felt like that was time invested well. I've talked to them a few times since that 2021 webinar, and they're still doing that. So, and then let me see here. Or I should say their organization is not, both of those ladies aren't still there. I believe Amy is. Did you have a question, Kenna? I saw your video come up.
Yes, thanks. So just a quick review for Annette. She just needs a basic review of where she needs to go to create the page for the
Oh,
church.
yeah, great question. So you're going to do that within your Fundeasy account. It is a peer-to-peer platform. So we'll just go back a couple of steps here. You can see right here, when you are logged in, this is the top of the screen here is what you always see. So you go to My Events, and then when you click that, there'll be an option to add an event. And so you'll just add a peer-to-peer event. If you are on an attendance or crowdfunding subscription, it'll ask you to upgrade to use peer-to-peer, but you just click there to get started. Again, we have some resources for you. We'll include those in our follow-up email on how to get started, but you can also find those in our knowledge base. Was there another one, Kenna, or no?
Sure, thank you. Yes, we're getting lots of good feedback and questions. Thank you.
Oh, great.
So just if you could hit upon the QR codes again, Diane wants to know, where do the QR codes come from?
Oh, great question.
Yeah.
Sure. So within your, I'm popping back here again, within your events, if you are wanting a QR code that goes right to the campaign page, the primary campaign page, you're going to get that from right down here where it says promote campaign. And so that will pop up and it'll give you a link to your campaign webpage. Most often though, you're going to share the direct link right to a fundraiser page. And so when you're in the column browser, since I have the screen up here, there's a couple different ways you can grab this link. There is a little thermometer here next to the name of the church. Otherwise, you could go to your leaderboard, click on the church, and it'll pull up their giving page here. And actually, let me go to that video. As it scrolls, you'll see right there is a fundraiser page link. That is the link right to this fundraiser page. So if you were wanting to email Regina Coley Parish, the link right to their page, this is where you would grab that link. And then you can use a QR code editor. There are so many of them, just Google them. If you use Canva for promotional materials and are providing those with your church, Canva has a QR code creator. Otherwise, if you pull up this link right here at the top of your browser in Chrome, there's actually a button to create the QR code right from Chrome. So QR code monkey is another one where you can customize like the colors and the style of your QR code. That is a free service as well. So lots of different ways to create that QR code. But the link you'll grab directly from the fundraiser page if you're wanting to link right to that fundraiser page, or from this promote campaign link right here if you're wanting to link to the campaign webpage. All right, so some things to include when setting up a page are photos, really customizing for the church. You probably saw in that little video that the photo was of the church. And so including a picture or the logo for each church just really makes that page personal to that church. Also, messaging, writing in a welcome message that is specific for each church and kind of talks about that church's participation in the Baby Bottle campaign, and then also a fundraising goal. So this is information that we got from Amy and Lynn back in 2021. They said that they set a fundraising goal for each church for what the church raised with physical bottles alone the previous year. And I think they said it there because they were a little nervous. They were talking about their 2020 campaign. They were nervous to really say, can you do more? They really were just like, hey, can you do what you did before? But I think as we're now through the pandemic and all of that, pivoting, we can ask for a little bit of a stretch, right? Set that goal a little bit higher. But of course, it's up to you. So just highlighting what they have shared in some testimonials with us. In their very first online baby bottle campaign in 2020, Women's Choice Network raised over $68,000. Participation has really increased, bringing in well over $100,000 each year since. I think last year was like 140 something. So Just incredible to see how much this has been received, how well this has been received within their community. And they're not alone. There's lots of others as well. In the same webinar, one of our other panelists, who is Mary from Waterleaf Women's Center in Illinois, shared that she customized the suggested donation amounts in the peer-to-peer platform, which I loved. That's one of the customization options you can do. So throughout, they kind of looked back at their history and figured that returned bottles in previous years averaged $50 a bottle. Which is incredible, but I'm sure some like $1,000 donations that were made in the bottle really offset that. So they said, you know, $30 is something that everyone could really do. And so they promoted that filling a bottle, with air quotes, was $30 because they felt $30 was a donation anyone could make. And then they asked donors, how many bottles will you fill? And set their default donation amounts in those increments, 30, 60, 90, etc. And she shared in that webinar that the average donation for their bottles was $100. So pretty incredible. And then I know promotion is always a big question. And as I'm sharing this, I would love to hear from you all in the chat as well. If there's other ways to that you have found successful in promoting bottles. But here are some of the things that we have certainly found to be successful. So if you are already doing a traditional baby bottle boomerang, adding an online option might be as simple as suggesting that families just take a bottle home or give online, and then making it clear where they go to give online. This may be a good place to say the links that we give you are not always the cleanest. When I showed you that the link right to the page, it's perfectly acceptable for a QR code, right? It's going to be fundeasy.com/m=124, you know, whatever, a bunch of numbers. That's fine for a QR code, but that's not a pretty link to actually print. So what you might want to do is go to Bitly or go to, oh my goodness, tinyURL or something like that to make a little bit cleaner of a link if you're actually printing a link instead of a QR code. One thing that we are so excited about, if you are a current customer, you've undoubtedly heard that we are about to launch a beta of a new product. Not a new product, but a new Fundeasy. It's called V4, and we have rebuilt Fundeasy from the ground up. One thing that is coming out is personalized URLs. And we're so stoked for that. So be watching for that early next year. And when suggesting an online gift, it is best to have a simple URL to direct to, as I mentioned, and to include a QR code in any print materials. So one great idea, which was shared in that webinar, the previous webinar, was to have a website dedicated to the campaign. And so you promote that every year. You can print that on anything. And then in your domain host, you just change where that is pointing to. So you would point it to this year's campaign webpage, and the next year you'd point it to next year's campaign webpage. So something like yourwebsite.com/babybottle, or city.babybottles.com or something like that. Kenna, I saw you pop back up. Was there a question?
Yes, thank you. Speaking of last year and this year, Cheryl wants to know that her organization used peer-to-peer last year and it's still going. So for 2024, how would she go forward with the fundraiser here coming up in January? Does she have to input everything again?
I would just to start from a clean slate, right? And not kind of messy it up or muddy it up. So I would close your last campaign, or even leave it open, but just start a new one with different information for this year. You don't have to start from scratch. When you're setting up your campaign, you can choose to copy in from a previous event, and it will copy in whatever you want from that previous event. Probably want to change up your graphics, change up your deadlines, and change up just anything that's date specific in your description. You may not know, this is lovely. There is also an option to copy in any teams if you have any sort of teams. I don't know why I just said that, because that's not really relevant for this campaign. But that is a handy thing in peer-to-peer for other types of events. But yes, I would definitely set up a new campaign this year, just so that everything is starting fresh and you're not building upon last year. It'll help with your reporting so much to start anew. Right. So like everything else, the ways churches can promote this fundraiser will vary greatly. Some suggestions include bulletin inserts, which of course include a link, a QR code to the church's fundraising page in those bulletin inserts. Most churches, of course, are doing digital bulletins. On the screen in the cycling promos before service begins, and then also in the digital bulletins. And so be sure to include a link or hyperlink to the church's fundraising page in those digital bulletins. Advertisements. So you can write specific advertisements for each church, sharing the impact that their participation has had in the past. Ads might be displayed as an announcement slide, poster, flyer, or any number of ways. So this is where it's important to really get the church's feedback and input. If you're providing them with resources that they're not going to use and aren't valuable to them, it really kind of shows that you don't know them. So get to know them, get to know the church and what works for them. So ask each church about how they would like to share it, and then of course tailor the promotions for your churches accordingly. Church emails are also a great way to promote these. So include an announcement in church emails and prepare pre-written text for them to use. My pastor sends emails every week before Sunday. And so something like this would be a great little line in that email that he sends. Hey, by the way, did you know we're partnering with this, pregnancy center? Click here to give. And then, here's the info you need for child, service and whatever. And then a video as well. Videos are powerful. A lot of churches still play them in their announcements. And so you can provide a short video for the church to play. You don't have to create one. Both Choose Life Marketing and Keener Marketing actually have videos available, so you don't have to recreate the wheel. You just send them the personalized information that you want on there, your logo, your organization, the website you're sending people to, and they'll take it from there. And then a baby bottle tag or insert. This is great. So you've got the bottle, and then you can have a little tag that hangs off the side, an insert that goes inside, whether that insert is paper or a magnet that they could put on their fridge. If you are reusing the URL year after year, then that might be the great thing to do, right? Put that magnet, put it on the fridge and say, support our church, or support your church, help your church's fundraising, on that magnet, so that they have it for years to come on their fridge, because you're just going to use that same website over and over. When I say website, I mean domain. So what I said previously stands true. You're going to want a different campaign webpage, a different campaign every year in Fundeasy, but you can use the same domain year after year. You'll just point to your new campaign each year. And I also put a little note in there. That QR code is great for those that have the best intentions of returning their filled bottles, or like me, who are out-of-towners and still want to support because they think your ministry is awesome. And then lastly, mailings, not necessarily from the church, but from you. So church promotion reaches those that are in church or watching online. But what if the promotion takes place when somebody's out of town? Sending a letter or a postcard to all individuals that filled a bottle in previous years to ensure that they know it's time for the baby bottle campaign is never a bad idea. Postcards are pretty cheap. They're very easy to design, and it really can have a good return on investment. A couple of additional notes. Like anything else that you are asking of churches, it is so important to get their buy-in. Regarding adding an online option to the campaign that they have been partnering with you for years, also in how they want to promote that campaign. So we all know that when somebody owns something, they'll be a lot more committed to its success than if they're simply asked for help. So make sure that the way that you are communicating really creates buy-in and not just an ask for them to help you out and help you raise more money. So engaging the church and seeking buy-in, find out who that gatekeeper is if you don't already have that relationship with the church. And the gatekeeper is oftentimes the person that, holds the keys to the decision maker for what announcements are made. And so seek to communicate with them whenever possible. They're the ones to implement the promotion of the campaign. It might be a secretary, pastor, pastor's wife, or another staff member. And then, as always, no matter what you do, be sure that your messaging is clear and consistent, especially in the digital age we live in today. You don't want too many words on things. So make sure that your messaging is clear and consistent. Use bullet points, use big font, make sure it's clear what you're asking them to do. Lastly here, before we get into a couple other items, the baby bottle campaign, this is a quote from our previous webinar. The baby bottle campaign is a partnership. I'm asking people to do a lot of work for me on their end of things. So I have to make it as easy as I possibly can for them to do what I'm asking them to do. That's why we take the time, invest the time up front to set up those fundraiser pages, to write the bulletin announcement. We might not use what you say verbatim, but it gives them an idea, right? And so you're really setting them up to be successful, which should have a good return on your investment. All right, and that concludes most of our content. We will do Q&A here in a sec, but I do want to encourage everybody to please take our survey. We send a survey in our post webinar email, but you also can scan that QR code right there, speaking of QR codes, to take the survey right now. Let us know how we did, where we can improve, and then also suggest some topics that you want to explore in future webinars. We always go back to those survey results when we are looking at what to present on. So please take the second to be an influencer and let us know what would bless you. And then also I put a save the date up in the corner. December 13 is our next webinar, and we have a guest speaker, Tammy Coker from New Life Family Services in Minnesota. She shared at a recent event just kind of a little glimpse of how their shift from running their ministry with a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset had the biggest change regarding everything, but specifically their growth and their influence. And so I asked her if she would come on and explore that a little bit more, share with some more detail and depth how that shift occurred, what it looked like for their board, for their staff, and the ways that that shifting from a scarcity to an abundance mindset looked practically, and then how it has really rolled out over the years. So put that on your calendar right now. It's going to be at the same time as this webinar was, December 13th. I cannot wait to chat with Tammy. And then I had mentioned at the very beginning that we're giving away $500 in the next couple of weeks. If you are not in our Facebook community group, Madison's going to drop the link to that group in our chat. We are doing a Giving Tuesday giveaway. And so I've already seen a few different campaigns in there. Our crowdfunding platform, which is free for anyone to use, customer or not, our crowdfunding platform allows you to create a page for a specific purpose, and in this case, for a specific day, for Giving Tuesday, and to set what you're wanting to raise money for, raise money toward that goal, have donors easily give, etc. And so we are giving away $50 a day every week, or I'm sorry, $50 a day every day next week, the week of Thanksgiving, and then $250 on Giving Tuesday. So we will just random select the folks that we're going to support, but we're so excited to financially give back to your ministries. So be sure to take advantage of this opportunity. I can't wait to see the fundraisers you all are running. So I see that there's a good handful of questions there in the Q&A section. If you have more, please do drop them in. I also have a bunch of contact info on the screen for you. I tried to color code it to make it a little bit more digestible. Kenna, your account manager, upper left-hand side. If you want to schedule an account review with her or just chat through your baby bottle campaign, she's there. So you can reach out to her via the email and phone number above. Our customer support team is, as always, awesome. And they can point you to really great resources. They're available via chat in your account or on our website, as well as via email. And then if you are not a customer and want to explore this or our other products a little bit more, Lindsay or myself will be more than happy to chat with you. You can schedule a demo. You can do that anytime on our website, fundeasy.com, or scanning that QR code on your screen. All right. I am excited to hear what questions we have in store. It's always a pop quiz. So, Kenna, what you got for me?
And you're going to do great. We all know it.
I don't know.
Is WePay required to use for peer-to-peer to receive online donations? And then this person asked, are you integrated with CDM Plus?
Good questions. Great questions. If you are a customer, you may have seen, actually, we send it out to everyone, customers and not, a survey recently asking about your input for payment processors. We, in the past, have and currently do exclusively use WePay, just because it is so built into our system, and we haven't offered options for other processors. Simply because of the development undertaking that has been. However, that's changing. So we are going to be offering different processors. That is one of the super exciting things that we have coming out in V4 that we cannot wait for, is the ability to work with other processors. So I cannot disclose at this point what that full list is going to be. But I can tell you that WePay is actually not going to be on the list. So we are going to roll out V4 with several processors. I won't give a number, but there will be a few. And then I believe you'll actually be seeing some changes coming down the pike here, even before V4 is out, regarding a new processor that you'll be able to use. So currently, if you sign up today and get started today, you do have to use WePay, but that is not truth for long. So if you're watching a recording of this webinar down the road, it's probably changed.
Great, thank you. Teresa Sadler said, so her churches do baby bottles at different times of the year. So if she wanted to run an annual campaign that allows competition for each year at different times, could she launch January 1st and end December 31st so she can see the whole year on one page?
Absolutely. Yes. And I'm sorry, Teresa, if I didn't make that clear. That is what I would absolutely encourage you to do, and what most organizations we have found that are successful in this path do, because it's the easiest. Takes the least amount of setup, and it does allow you to run that throughout the course of the year. You don't have to upload new banners every season, or whatever. It just allows you to keep that campaign throughout the whole calendar year. So for sure, do that, Teresa.
Great. Kristen wants to know, on the leaderboard, where you see what church is in first place, does it also show their totals?
It does. Yes. It shows their goal and it shows their total amount raised.
Great. And then once a page is created for a church, does it have to be recreated with each baby bottle campaign, or can it be used over and over again with just updated information?
For the church?
Yes.
I would create a new one each time that they're running their campaign. So if you have a church that participates Sanctity of Life Sunday, or Sanctity of Life month, then you would set it up for that month. And then if in 2024, 2025, 2026, they're doing another campaign, Sanctity of Life month, I would set up a new page for that year. Reason being is because the page will always show how much has been raised. And if you're looking at your 2024 numbers, then you want to see only your 2024 numbers, not how much has been raised, since you started the whole digital campaign until now. That makes sense, kind of? Did I answer that appropriately?
I think you did. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure.
Craig wants to know, about how long does it create to set up a page for a church? Not very long at all.
No, not long at all. So setting up the campaign itself is the most detailed process, but that won't take you too long. There's a lot of customizations that you can make. We have a really great step-by-step knowledge-based article that walks you through creating a baby bottle campaign. So you can follow those steps, or you can go through and, tweak things, toggle something on, toggle it off, see how it works, just kick the tires for a bit. So I would say you can easily have your campaign set up in a day. And then as far as registering and setting up the page for each church, I don't know, you might want to just budget about 5 to 10 minutes per church. Is that fair? Maybe a little longer, depending on how involved you get. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And then just a reminder, Laura wants to know, is there an example of a peer-to-peer page on the Fundeasy website? You covered that, maybe just a quick review on that, where to go.
Yep. Yeah, fundeasy.com/P2P, or just click products at the top and choose peer-to-peer. And if you scroll down, you'll actually see live fundraiser pages. We do have a sample campaign that we can send a link for, Madison, if you want to include that in the follow-up email if you don't have that link handy. We do have a demo that we have set up, and so we can just include a link to that demo, since that's how we would say this is the standard for how to set it up. When you're looking at the live fundraiser pages on our website, that's how others have set it up. It's not necessarily like what we have found to be most effective. It's just, hey, these are the actual pages that are running right now and what they look like. So I wouldn't hold that as like, these are best practice. I would hold that as, oh, this is what other people are doing.
Great. Laura said, I believe having the church do a peer-to-peer page will take our baby bottle campaign to the next level. We do too, Laura.
Absolutely, for sure. That's exciting. Thanks for sharing, Laura. Great.
And Craig also asked, and maybe everybody in chat can comment too, some of his churches in his campaign choose not to use the page due to a lack of internet use among their church members.
Sure.
So if you're in a rural area, if you could just chat in, maybe some suggestions on that topic for Craig.
Yeah, I would say too, sometimes the people that are at the church make assumptions about their congregation that might not hold true. So I would still encourage them to share that information out there. They may not have internet at their homes, but more likely than not, they have a smartphone. And so still allowing, people to scan and give online is an option. I know that that is not across the board. I know that not every donor wants to give online or through their phone, of course. And that's why we still do physical bottles. They're wonderful. They're great. But you, as the person managing those funds, can still enter all of the offline donations so that you can say, XYZ rural church still raised, this much money through their campaign, and have it reflect right along with the rest of your churches that are really embracing the digital component. Great. And then I see another question. Kenna, I saw your photo pop or your video popped off, but I do see a question from Janet. Where do you get the information to send postcards? We don't have contact info on the membership. Of course you don't. What I was referring to was those that have participated in the campaign in the past. So anybody that's in your database flagged for a baby bottle donation in the last 5 years or so, you can just send them a postcard letting them know, hey, in case you didn't see it in your church, it's baby bottle time again. So that should be something that you are tracking in your CRM, your donations that come in and the designation, like where they came from. And so that would be just for people that have participated in the past, not for the entire congregation of the church. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions, and we are at the top of the hour. So I really appreciate this time with everyone. Yes, Lori shared, you can ask the churches to send you their logo to match what they have so members will see it. Definitely you want to customize and make it personal. You can also typically grab that logo off of their website. Since it's website to website, it's not like grabbing it off a website for print material where it's going to be a low resolution. You should be able to just use it, you know, from website to website. So excellent. Well, any further questions that you have, please reach out to us. Our contact info is there on the screen. I appreciate you all. This has been a fun webinar. I feel like I've been out of the webinar world here for a few months, so it's good to be back. Thanks for doing this with me, Kenna. You are amazing. And Madison, I appreciate you all. And I hope you all have a wonderful week and a very profitable baby bottle campaign. Adios.
See ya.